Well, welcome to you. If you've just joined us here in Warsaw, moments to savour these, the seconds before a big tournament begins. And hold tight, because once it does begin, it'll over before you know it. But I hope you're able to enjoy as much of it as you can with us here on 5 Live, where we'll bring you commentary on every game from every ground. The two teams are just huddled together. Greece break away first. The Poles are still there in their huddle, the white shirts with the red numbers on the back, the red shorts and the white socks. Greece all in blue, which is their change kit. They changed their first choice kit to all white after they won Euro 2004, and if you remember back to Portugal in the very first game of that tournament, it was the Greeks who beat the hosts Portugal, something they're hoping to repeat here today. Well, Spain are the defending champions, and there is Spanish involvement today. The Champions League referee Carlos Velasco Carballo is the man in black in the middle. But we are ready now as the noise level ramps up, and for the first time a major football finals is in Eastern Europe, and it begins. Euro 2012 kicks off here in Warsaw underneath the canopy roof, and it is the Greeks in possession. And there are 50,000 people inside this stadium. There is a Greek corner down to our left, but I would estimate that probably 49,000 people inside this ground are fans of the co-hosts Poland, and they whistle those home supporters while the Greeks are in possession. Poland get their first touch as the ball is charged down out of play for a throw-in to Greece over on the left-hand side. These are the names then you'll be hearing us describe to you over the course of the next 90 minutes. The Polish team, Szczesny in goal, the back four of Piszczek, Wasilewski, Perkis and Bernish, midfield three, Morawski, Polanski and Obraniak breaking forward, with the captain, Blaszczykowski on the right, Ribas on the left and Lewandowski through the middle. As Greece take this long ball downfield, Samaras gets a touch on it for Greece, but it's cleared away on the edge of the Polish penalty area. And the Greek side, Halkias the goalkeeper, just break away because Lewandowski has it, but he's fouled his man. He's fouled Papastathopoulos, and it's a free kick to Greece in front of their own penalty area. So Halkias in goal for Greece, back four of Torosidis, Avram Papadopoulos, Papastathopoulos and Holibas. Midfield three of Maniatis, Katsouranis and Captain Karagounis, with Ninis, Samaras in the flank positions and Gekas as their lone striker. Danny Mills is here with us, who has experience of tournament football with England, of course, at the World Cup in Japan and Korea. And we're watching Danny, Poland just clearing the ball away from their own penalty area. I think the clever money today is on a draw, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you look at the records of both these teams, both very, very defensive. Neither of them score a vast amount of goals, but I just want to say well done on getting all those names right. I think it could well be a case if you say tomato and I'll say tomato this afternoon.
Yeah, well, I think we'll settle on that, Danny, shall we? Yeah, Poland against Greece certainly provides one of the biggest challenges for a commentator, I think, at Euro 2012. Greece have a free kick on the left-hand side. Karagounis is going to take it. It was Karagounis who scored the opening goal against Portugal at Euro 2004. Well, he won't score from here unless he does something spectacular. It's way out on the left-hand side, 15 yards inside the Polish hole. Karagounis, the bearded Karagounis, plays it into the edge of the area, and Lewandowski was back there to head it away. It comes back to him on the edge of the box. And I think he was fouled there. He was. It's a free kick to Poland in front of their own penalty area. And I think relief around the National Stadium here in Warsaw from the home supporters that first set piece the Greeks had resulted in nothing.
Yeah, well, you can probably hear it's a very, very hostile atmosphere. The Polish fans are cheering absolutely every decision, every pass, and booing when the Greeks have got the ball. So it's a great atmosphere for the opening game.
Obraniak down the left gives it to Ribas, whose cross is blocked out for a throw-in to Poland, 10 yards away from the corner flag, down in front of us. Polish supporters were getting to their feet there. It really is a vibrant atmosphere, and that's helped, of course, as they wave their scarves and sing Polska. The throw-in is taken, it's headed out towards the penalty spot, flicked over the top by Blaszczykowski, but straight into the hands of the experienced Halkias, the goalkeeper, who is the oldest player involved in any of the squads here at Euro 2012, and he comes out in his gold outfit and catches it easily.
Well, again, I think it'll be quite a tense start, quite a nervous start from both these sides. Of course, the opening game absolutely vital. If you lose that opening game, you're really up against it, and it makes it tough to really qualify from your group.
Polanski plays it down the right. Very early stages here in Warsaw. Ball played into the middle. Lewandowski touches it, plays it back. Shot is blocked. Comes out to the edge of the D. And the effort there is pushed over the top. Morawski with the left foot shot from the edge of the D that was saved by Halkias, the goalkeeper.
Oh, but it was Polanski's, I think, Morawski's first shot that came in. Fantastic block. I'm not sure who threw the body in front of it, but the Poles, I think, already have shown signs that they're going to be a bit more attacking than what we're used to. Listening to the manager in the press conference yesterday, he was certainly saying that they were going to defend and be defensive.
Corner from the right, taken in, bounces out to the edge of the penalty area, and the shot is screwed wide. It fell to Rebus on his left foot, and he didn't catch it at all well, and in fact it was probably 10 yards wide.
Yeah, it was one of those ones, it maybe just choked it a little bit, didn't really catch it and dragged it wide. The save from Halkias before that from Morawski was fairly routine in the middle of the goal, but it was that the block shot from Polanski before that, which really was the one that was a great opportunity. Lewandowski laid the ball off, maybe only 9 yards from goal, and that block was absolutely crucial.
So here we are in the National Stadium in Poland, watching Poland 0, Greece 0 in the opening match of the tournament, and Poland coming forward again. This is promising. Morawski now gives it to Błaszczykowski. He's looking for Piszczek, his Borussia Dortmund teammate, who bursts forward down the right hand side from his right back position, and he wins the throw-in off the first defender. It was Samaras who was back there. Throw is taken back to Polanski. Now again, Błaszczykowski shrugs off the challenge, but the loose ball actually runs to Karagounis, the Greek captain. And now it is Greece with Torosidis, who swings the ball forward, but the offside flag is up against Gekas in the middle, and Poland have a free kick inside their own penalty area. Poland 0, Greece 0 on BBC 5 Live. There's no question that this is the place to be in Poland today. Our young Polish driver who brought us here today, in his 20s, he was saying that Poland has never known anything like this. He said outside of anything political, Poland has never known anything quite like this. It is a famous day for this country.
It truly is magnificent. The stadium is absolutely superb, and it's quite unusual, I think, to see a European game or a World Cup game with so many home fans in the stadium. Just a sea of red and white everywhere you look, and I think that's magnificent. And the streets outside as well, Polish fans everywhere. National holiday yesterday. I think everyone was gearing up for this, and I think so far, the Polish have made this a great opening to the tournament.
Yeah, it was a religious holiday yesterday by chance, but it fell very nicely. And I'm told by a number of the people who live here in Warsaw that with that holiday yesterday, many people have decided, in a little bit of a Jubilee style, just to take the 4 days off and really enjoy today. And that explains, Danny, why it was so quiet on the streets this morning, even if it wasn't a public holiday.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if they manage to get a win in this group, I don't think the streets will be quiet at all. I think there'll be an awful lot of celebrating, and a lot of the local juice drunk.
Yes. Poland 0, Greece 0. BBC 5 Live. 7 minutes played of Euro 2012. First of our commentaries. The next one comes hard on the heels of this. Russia against Czech Republic in this group in Wrocław from 7:45 UK time. An encouraging start by the Poles, who win a free kick on the halfway line. Obraniak, the most forward-thinking of the three Polish central midfielders, plays it forward, but it bounces away and is cleared away for Greece by Papadopoulos, one of the two Papadopouloses in the Greek squad, not related. And the other one, Kyriakos, who plays for Schalke, is very highly thought of, only 20 years old, but he's not in the starting lineup to begin the tournament. Instead it's Avram who's playing. Ball forward for Poland, but Lewandowski picked up for a foul near the halfway line on Avram Papadopoulos, and it's a free kick to the Greeks again in a similar position to their first one of the match. So Karagounis, I'm sure he comes across to take the ball down and will look to fire this in. In fact, he just plays it back towards the halfway line. He obviously wants the ball rolling before he delivers it. And now Katsouranis, another vastly experienced player in this Greek squad. Katsouranis and Karagounis are now teammates at Panathinaikos two of the three central midfielders. In fact, there's quite a Greek-based presence in this team today. 8 of them play for Greek clubs, 4 of them for the recent double winners, Olympiakos. It's on the halfway line with Katsouranis. 0-0 if you've just joined us on 5 Live here. Ball to the right-hand side to Torosidis, who was a doubt for this game but has been past fit. Not seen much of Ninis so far, the number 18, who our Greek colleague Christos picked out for us before the game. Throwing his taker. And here he is now, Ninis, who is well watched actually by Bernish, the Polish left-back. And now Poland move it away towards the halfway line. And it is Polanski now. Polanski's carried it a long way, stabs it with the outside of his boot, but into the path of Holibas, the left-back, who turns and launches it out of play on the halfway line for a Polish throw. 0-0.
Well, I think as expected so far that the Greeks are not really showing any ambition to get forward and threaten Szczesny in that goal. The Poles, I think, again, with all the hype, with this atmosphere, with the fans, the backing of them as well, they look a bit more positive, trying to keep the ball but also break forward at pace as well. But again, Lewandowski's a little bit isolated, I think, at times, and he's going to need support if the Poles are going to really cause problems to the Greek defence.
Poland in possession inside their own half. It's 0-0. One thing we should mention, Danny, again quite early in the commentary, I think, is the fact that this is Poland's first competitive game for 2.5 years, don't forget, because of qualifying automatically as co-hosts. So they have put together quite an impressive run of form. They've only lost one of their last 12 internationals, the friendly games, but very different, a competitive game.
Yeah, definitely. Friendlies, it's always difficult. Players sometimes are a little bit more relaxed and actually play better in friendlies because of that. The tension here, the expectation, although it's the easier of the 4 groups, but I think there is expectation, although probably Russia are the favourites. Certainly the locals expect the Polish to get out of this group.
Yeah, Russia the favourites in this group, playing the Czech Republic tonight. Poland-Russia should be quite an occasion. Poland's next game, which is in Warsaw, here in this stadium on Tuesday. You'll hear that, of course, on 5 Live too. Another free kick to Greece, similar area, and Karagounis, this time on the right-hand side, is going to strike this towards the edge of the penalty area. Big Samaras is up there, Gekas as well. Karagounis waits. Referee is watching carefully. Karagounis then swirls it in. Glancing header is wide. Gekas got to it, and he grinds his teeth in agony that he wasn't able to direct it on target, instead 2-3 yards wide of the post. Goal kick.
Well, again, it was a very sort of a flattish delivery in. Gekas just got in just in front of his man, and I think Poland was slightly fortunate because I think Szczesny just slipped. Had that have been in the corner of the goal, he may have been struggling to get across. But yeah, I think so far we've seen really the only ambition from the Greeks is deep free kicks put into the box.
Poland 0, Greece 0. Poland coming forward. Blaszczykowski, nicely done. Played back to him. Blaszczykowski with a shot, but he lifted it high over the bar from an angle, 12 yards out. And what he was trying to do there was quite a difficult thing, to meet the bouncing ball with a right instep volley, and he just got under it a little.
Yeah, really difficult skill. It was a tough ball. He's almost slightly behind him. He had to screw his body, and try and get pace towards the far post. Really got a little bit too much on the ball and just dragged it wide.
I was really impressed with Blaszczykowski yesterday when we listened to him down way below where we're sitting now in the stadium at the final press conferences. In that, all the formalities had been completed, and he said, hang on a moment, he said, I'd just like to take this moment to thank everyone. He said, I want to thank all of the coaching staff, I want to thank all of the players who've been involved over the course of the past 2.5 years while we've been preparing, and I want to thank the supporters as well. And I thought it was very well said at the right point, and I suspect he'll have repeated something like that in the dressing room before the game. Means an awful lot to Poland. Means an awful lot to any country, of course, when they are hosting a tournament. But I think with the history that this country has, I think it's worth pointing out that we're sitting here in Warsaw, which is a city at the end of the Second World War. It had been virtually destroyed. It had been virtually reduced to rubble, and that is not much of an exaggeration. It's a fascinating history if you want to delve into it and learn about it during the course of this tournament. But now here they are hosting this great tournament, and they're coming forward, Poland, and Lewandowski's available in the middle, and he threw himself at it but wasn't able to make contact, and the ball is out for a throw-in on this side of the field.
Oh, what a glorious opportunity. There's Piszczek coming forward from the back. Of course, used to play striker, so knows that area very, very well. Really was just waiting for somebody to make a move. Oh, and just seen the replay. Lewandowski throws himself and is literally an inch away from putting Poland 1-0 up. Unbelievable, great opportunity.
Lewandowski again to Polanski, then back to Lewandowski, who played it across the penalty area. Greece struggling to get it away. Poland still with it inside the box. There is a Polish player down on this side of the field, but Morawski then loses possession in the Greece left back area, and big gangly Samaras with his long silky hair just manages to hold off the challenges that are put in on him, and Greece will put the ball out of play, so the Polish player who is down, who is Obraniak, can receive some treatment, and across comes Senor Caballo, the referee, just to see how he is. So 0-0, Poland 0, Greece 0. Danny Mills.
Well, that would have been absolutely fantastic. You almost want Poland to score just to see the reaction of the fans, to hear the noise. They will go absolutely delirious just seeing the challenge again on Obraniak. Nothing really in it. I think it got jumped into, but the ball that Piszczek put across was literally inch perfect. Lewandowski was only an inch away, from that hitting his head, and well, it was an open goal really, and putting him up. But Poland, I think, a good value so far. They've shown promise, they've shown attack. Maybe not quite what we expected, but certainly they look like they want to go out and win this game.
Poland 0, Greece 0, as the ball is played downfield by the Greeks, but it ends up at the feet of Wasilewski, the right-sided central defender, who will play it long towards Lewandowski, who jumps forward, bounces down towards the edge of the Greek penalty area. Papadopoulos overhead kicks it away, still hasn't got it out of his own half. Bouncing ball is brought down by Lewandowski, who scored 30 goals in all competitions for Borussia Dortmund this season, the double winners in Germany. Lewandowski loses it, but the Poles win it back. Lewandowski shoots on the turn. I think it might have taken a flick off the defender. That's what certainly Lewandowski is appealing for, is it went behind, well away from the goal, but the final touch, says the referee, was off Lewandowski, and it's a goal kick to Greece. Poland 0, Greece 0. Let's get another update from Paris, from Jonathan Overend at the men's semi-finals at the French Open.
4 games all in the second set between Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer. Strange set of tennis this. Federer led by a double break, 3-love. Djokovic retrieved one of the breaks and then another, but now Federer with 2 more break points to try and pull clear. He's taken the first of them, so Federer leads 5-4 second set with a break. Djokovic won the first.
Thanks, Jonathan. So from Paris back here to Warsaw, where it's Poland 0, Greece 0, with just over a quarter of an hour of this opening match played, and the co-hosts Poland have had the better of it. Obraniak now plays the ball down the right. Piszczek with a cross. Lewandowski heads it in! Poland take the lead, and Robert Lewandowski becomes instantly a Polish hero for scoring the first goal at Euro 2012 and making it Poland 1, Greece 0.
Well, I think that's been on the cards. It was a fantastic cross in from the right-hand side. Beautifully weighted, floated into the far post, and Lewandowski simply had to get his head on the ball and put that home. The Greek defence, who've been exceptional in the build-up to this, they were absolutely all over the place. Lewandowski just pulled off at the far post, nobody marked him, completely free, a glorious cross and a simple header to put them 1-0 up. For me, the Poles deserve that. They've come out, they've shown attack, they've shown purpose, and certainly, as we expected, almost the roof came off.
It has stayed on, just to clarify, but an explosion of Polish noise inside the National Stadium here, and almost delirious celebrations going on around us. We're up on the top tier, 2 tiers all the way around, and they're still celebrating as Lewandowski's image actually appears on the big screens that are above our heads, above the centre circle, just underneath the roof, and Poland leading 1-0. And now Obraniak pulls the ball across, and the Greeks, who, as you rightly say, Danny, defensively, for a team that we've been told, it's almost been drummed into us what a great defensive unit the Greeks were all over the place for the goal.
Well, again, the Greeks have only lost one out of the last 21 games that they've played, which is absolutely phenomenal. But for some bizarre reason, the defence then was all over the place.
We're just actually, there's a stoppage at the moment because Papadopoulos was involved in a coming together with Lewandowski on the edge of his own penalty area. Went down, pulled his sock down, his left sock, then got up, and I have a feeling there might have been a little kick out on Lewandowski. Be interesting to see if we actually get a replay of that on our television screens here. So that's one to keep an eye out for. And then also another stoppage because another Greek player is down nearer the halfway line, and the referee's actually going to call the medical people on to have a look at him. But Poland leading now by that goal. Lewandowski goal. That will be replayed on televisions all around Poland, I think probably until Poland play again. Famous sporting moment in the pub quizzes of Poland in the years to come. Who was the man who scored the first goal for Poland at Euro 2012? Well, it was Robert Lewandowski of Borussia Dortmund, who I think in the odds would probably have been fairly short as the first goal scorer.
Oh, definitely. But I think the cross from Blaszczykowski, the captain, was absolutely magnificent. He put a couple in earlier on, that hadn't really found anybody in the box, but it was a glorious ball to the far post. The keeper, Halkias, came for it almost, could have done an awful lot better, didn't get anywhere near it, and it was a completely free header. There was nobody anywhere near Lewandowski, and he simply almost hit his head, went into the back of the net. And as I said, the Poles deserve it. They've looked the more promising, they've shown more attacking prowess so far. The Greeks, sometimes when you sit back, if the defence isn't rock solid, you get what you deserve.
So Poland leading Greece by 1-0, and Avram Papadopoulos continues to be treated off the field. So Greece just playing with 10 men at the moment. We've had a lengthy stoppage there. I see the Greek coach Fernando Santos is just coming to the edge of his coaching area, and in actual fact I'm not sure that Avram Papadopoulos is going to be able to continue, because his namesake Kyriakos Papadopoulos, who I mentioned earlier in the commentary, the 20-year-old from Schalke, is getting ready to come onto the field. Well, he's still receiving treatment over there. He's sitting down. There's a medical man with him. But Greece playing with 10 men at the moment, and it would seem that Greece are having to make an enforced change in central defence. Polska, Polska. The crowd sing. It's red and white all the way around. Lower tier and top tier, and the executive circle as well around the middle, apart from that one little corner of blue and white where the Greek supporters are.
But also I think it's worth mentioning, John, when those celebrations did go off, the two sets of fans, the Greek fans seem to be mixed in pretty much with the Polish fans. There's no segregation, and there doesn't seem to be any issues. All the fans watching this, quite happy to be sat amongst each other.
Avram Papadopoulos is now back on the field. So Kyriakos Papadopoulos is now having to sit down again and put his training top back on. So we'll see how long he lasts. It's 1-0 to Poland. BBC 5 Live here in Warsaw, bringing you Euro 2012 commentaries on every game from every ground. And it's not every broadcaster in Europe that is able to say that, if you get my drift. So stick with us on 5 Live. The only time the games will appear on Sports Extra is when one's on 5 Live and the other's on Sports Extra, when the final games in the groups are being played. Well, the sun is shining now above the National Stadium. We can only see a shard of it really coming in through the glass panels on the roof that surround the closed section, the PVC closed section, but we can see sunshine on the lower tier on the opposite side of the ground as Poland come forward with Lewandowski. Now Blaszczykowski thought he might have a shooting opportunity, but the challenge came in on him very quickly from Papadopoulos. And now Karagounis to Katsouranis, who plays it out towards the left-hand side, and there's space now for Holibas, the left-back, to carry it forward. But I must say Greece have been quite ponderous when they've come forward, and again the momentum of the attack has slowed, and Samaras is content to win a throw-in halfway inside the Polish half. Throwing to Greece, 1-0 Poland lead. Lewandowski's goal in the 17th minute of the game, his 15th goal at international level, in his 43rd appearance. Throw-in taken towards Samaras, who heads it back to Holebas. And now the ball runs free for a shot from Katsouranis, who was, well, probably 30 yards out by the time that he hit it. It was well wide and behind for a goal kick to Poland. So Poland leading by 1-0 against Greece. And we'll go back to Paris and get the latest on Djokovic Federer from Jonathan Overend again.
Federer can't hold on to his serve here. 5 games all in the second set. He's been ahead so many times in this set, but Djokovic has pegged him back once, twice, now 3 times. 5-all second set, Djokovic having won the first.
And if you've just finished work, incidentally, and you might be wondering about the cricket, well, it might be no surprise, I believe, given the weather back home. No play again at Edgbaston today, so yet to begin the third test. Poland leading Greece by 1-0 in the sunshine here. Mind you, we've had it as well. We've had the rain too, don't worry about that. But almost from nowhere, it appeared, a torrential rainstorm in the 2 or 3 hours before kickoff that was almost biblical in its proportions. By the way, the tennis commentary from Paris continues on 5 Live Sports Extra right now if you want to follow Djokovic Federer. Poland 1, Greece 0, and it's given away by Poland. And now Ninis will take it forward. Challenge on him from Perkis. It was a good one, and it blocked Ninis' progress. Ninis again, though, and then Perkis again with a challenge. I thought he might have fouled him this time, but no free kick. And Poland whack it away downfield for the goal scorer Lewandowski to chase. And he tangles as the ball bounces away and behind for what is given as a corner to Poland. Papastathopoulos complains about it, but a corner given.
I think the referee's done quite well there. The first 2 challenges on Ninis, I think were both pretty fair. You know, they were tough challenges, but certainly I have no issue with that. But again, you know, Poland with Lewandowski up front, you know, he's obviously a major threat. He's prepared to work hard as well and work the channels, although he's up front on his own. You know, and Poland, every time they come forward, you know, do look promising.
25 minutes played. Poland leading Greece by 1-0 on 5 Live. And the corner won't be taken just yet because Carballo, the referee, is just going to lay the law down near the penalty spot. This referee was spot on, incidentally. It was a corner as well. It was quite right, the decision that he gave here. And he's ready now for Obraniak to play this in. Outswinger, which is headed up in the air and then punched away by goalkeeper Halkias. And he's done well, actually. He's been able to find a man in blue, Ninis. But Ninis backheeled it and gave it away. And the Poles have a chance to come again with Obraniak on the left-hand side. Karagounis piles in with a challenge. He's saying he took the ball, but he took the man as well. And it's a free kick to the Poles on the left.
Yeah, poor challenge from Karagounis. Absolutely needless. You know, just dived in. Completely unnecessary, and again now gives the Poles a great opportunity to put a dangerous ball into the box. We level with the edge of the 18-yard area, and again, you know, the Poles do look a threat from set pieces. The Greeks at the moment, for what we were expecting, look all over the place defensively.
Obraniak will take this as he did the corner from this side, left-footed, so it'll be an outswinger. 5 white Polish shirts inside the Greek box. Obraniak delivers it. It's headed away out of the penalty area by Papadopoulos towards Samaras with the orange-heeled boots, who very tamely loses possession, but then Poland can't make anything of it, and Greece have got it again inside their own half. It's been fairly insipid first half hour at Euro 2012 by the Greeks, incidentally. They've got their own little Euro crisis going on here in Poland at the moment. The ball is with them on the halfway line. Maniatis out to Samaras, who chests it down, gives it back to Karagounis, middle of the Polish half, plays it through for Gekas, chasing to the left side of the penalty area. Perkis goes with him. It's played to Samaras on the left hand side. Touch almost let him down, but he keeps possession, gives it to Karagounis. Challenge comes in on him from Obraniak. Karagounis again for Greece, back to the halfway line now, and now Greece bring it forward with Ninis, who is in a little more central position. Torosidis, the Greek right back. Now Maniatis with a touch. Ninis tries to take it on into the Polish left back area. There's a coming together between him and Burnish. Ninis goes down and wins the free kick for Greece in a dangerous position.
Well, at first, seeing that the first time round, I thought that was a little bit harsh. Having just seen it again, maybe Ninis just gets caught. He got fortunate. There was a bit of a ricochet that set him through, but now the Greeks have a very dangerous free kick, probably level with the 6-yard box, just outside the 18-yard area. So well, this can be whipped in right across the face of goal. That's what I expect. Any sort of touch in this, very, very dangerous, either from an attacker or from a defender.
Poland winning 1-0, but we've been told to watch out for the Greeks at set pieces. Beware the Greeks with free kicks. Ninis pulls it across, shot is blocked, and the referee has blown his whistle, and I think is he going to want the free kick taken again? He is. He's spotted some pushing and shoving. Well, that was nicely worked. We were expecting it to be aerial, and in fact it was played low into the middle where Katsouranis was out with the shot that was blocked. Second time around, Ninis plays it in. This time it is in the air, headed out. Oh, Maniatis completely misses his kick 25 yards out, and then is trampled on as Poland look to counter-attack, and they could be away here. The white shirts into the Greek half, but then the ball runs for Papastathopoulos to clear, but only back to Poland. Ball out towards the left. He'll do well to keep it in on this side of Braniak. Well, he does keep it in, but he only succeeds in giving it back to Karagounis. So Poland winning 1-0 here. Back to Jonathan Overend in Paris.
2 sets to love. Novak Djokovic, the top seed, now leads Roger Federer after Federer lost his last 3 service games in the second set. He led it by a double break, 3-love, but Djokovic has now established a 2 sets to love lead. Looks like we're heading for yet another Djokovic-Nadal final, John.
You won't be complaining about that, though.
Won't be complaining about that, although it might be 6 hours like the last one.
1-0 to Poland here at Euro 2012. Poland-Greece this afternoon, Russia-Czech Republic this evening. If you're just coming home from work and listening to us, then the game you'll find on BBC One when you get in, unless of course you want to carry on listening to us on Firefly, which I would recommend, Danny. I don't know about you.
Without a shadow of a doubt, that's the best option by far.
I would say that. Thrown to Poland inside their own half on the right hand side in this fantastic stadium. I mean, we're used to seeing great stadiums around Europe, around the world, but they've done a great job here. It's dressed up beautifully as well for Euro 2012 with the purple colours and the floral designs at every spare section of it. And the ground itself is positioned on a mound on the edge of the river, the Vistula River, which winds its way through the Polish capital. And they've done a lovely little piece of work as well. I don't know whether you noticed on one of our many trips over that bridge that they've actually constructed a beach down there on the edge of the river, and I'm sure that the supporters will have enjoyed themselves before the game there, and will probably do so again after the match. Poland leading 1-0.
I think, certainly Poland at the moment, unless it is a bit of a freak goal or a set piece, they look very, very organised, as we expected. They've set up very, very well. I think Schmuder has got his team, playing some good football. They're playing on the break, but at the moment the Greek midfield just simply can't get into the game. The passing isn't sharp enough up front for Gekis. They can't get the ball to him with any quality. When Samaras has had the ball, he's given it away. And I've been impressed with the Polish team so far.
Yeah, they have risen to the challenge so far, leading through the Lewandowski goal. Now the ball attempted to be played to him again by Polanski, just forward of the centre circle. It was headed away. Now here's Samaras again. Samaras of Celtic, heading the ball down in front of himself. Piszczek has been able to get back and block his progress. Still Samaras, though, holds it up once again as Polanski comes across to help out Piszczek. Now Karagounis closer to the halfway line, to the left-hand side. Again, Holibas is there. Holibas is crossed into the area, headed down by a falling Vasilevsky. And Poland take up possession once more and come away. Little space opening up for them, but the blue shirts of Greece get back quickly. And Moravsky just almost going 360 degrees with the ball in the centre circle. Now Obraniak plays it down the right. Challenge comes in from Holibas to win it back for Greece. And now Maniatis, the right-sided of the 3 central midfielders for Greece. Torosidis, the right back, one of the Olympiakos players in this Greek side here today. 4 of them from Olympiakos, the double winners in Greece. Now Karagounis begins to shuffle forward. Challenge comes in on him and a free kick given. Not sure whether it was from Moravsky with a challenge on the ground or whether he got a shove from Obraniak, but a free kick given Greece's way.
Yeah, I think it was given from the shove from Braniak. The tackle from Moravsky sliding in from the side was a clean one, so it would only be for the shove. But again, the Greeks have got the ball probably 45 yards from goal. No real hurry. Ninis is on it, and really just looks like he's just going to float the ball to the back post and hope for the best.
Poland leading. The free kick for Greece that Ninnis drives in at pace to the edge of the penalty area and planted right onto a Polish head, who's able to head it away back into the Greek half. And I see Żmuda, the Polish coach, just prowling around in his short-sleeved red shirt on the edge of his coaching area. He looks like a man who would like to get into half-time with his team leading by 1-0. Just over 10 minutes to go until the break, the first half-time break at this Euro 2012 tournament. And the Polish supporters doing their best to get behind their team and clapping and singing rhythmically as Piszczek makes himself available. But Rebus, who has switched flanks, is able to play it back, and Poland start again from inside their own half. Here's the blonde-haired Perkis, one of the French-born players in this Polish side. Turns and plays it all the way back to Szczesny, who's had very little to do, the Arsenal goalkeeper. He's all in yellow, sort of goldy yellow to our right. Long ball from him up towards Lewandowski. It's headed powerfully down by Papastathopoulos, who fouled Lewandowski, and it's a yellow card for that. Was that a little bit of an elbow in there?
Well, it's been quite interesting. There's been one or two off the ball instances all over the pitch. You know, there's been a little bit of needle in this game so far. Again, just seeing the replay, not an awful lot in that. You know, he's got to jump.
Extremely
severe
yellow card.
Very harsh.
Socrates Papastathopoulos. He's actually, I've just noticed here on the television, he's actually got Socrates written on the back of his shirt above the number 19 instead of Papastathopoulos.
That's because it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Or it's the most expensive name on the planet if you're a kid and want it on the back of your shirt.
Yes.
Well, I'll stick with Socrates, I think.
Yes, I think
that's far easier.
Yeah, maybe we should stick with Socrates.
But no, yeah, it was a harsh booking. But at the moment, the Poles look well in control of this game. As you said, Szczesny hasn't really had a save of any note. There was just the half header from Gekis when Szczesny slipped. Had it been on target, might have been struggling to get across. But apart from that, the Poles have looked technically. I think they've looked quite good. They've passed the ball around. They've played well on the break, and they do have, two or three really good attacking players that can get forward and cause problems.
Right, well, we are going to have this change now. It's been a lengthy stoppage, actually, with the yellow card and then the treatment. And now, eventually, Avram Papadopoulos has had to give up his battle to stay involved in this opening match. And he will now be replaced, as I say, by his namesake, unrelated, the young Schalke defender, Kyriakos Papadopoulos, who comes on to win his 9th cap for his country. Free kick is taken by Poland into the penalty area, only half cleared, chance here to make it 2-0, and Perkis has missed a glorious chance. The central defender, 12 yards out, saw the goal gaping and blasted it wide. Should have been 2-0 Poland.
Oh, what a glorious opportunity. Again, the Greeks all over the place. When it comes back out, the first ball in is a decent free kick. No one really gets a touch. There's a ricochet. It popped back out to Perkis, and well, I think he snatched at it, dragged it wide. Little bit of pressure came in from Holibas. Nothing really major. Should have done better and should have, well, at least hit the target and made it 2-0.
He didn't have much time to think about it, but I think he had enough time to think about it and think that 2-0 opening match before half-time against Greece. Greece would struggle to come back from that on the basis of what we've seen.
Well, I think on the basis of what we've seen so far, the Greeks might struggle to come back from 1-0. Of course, I stand here to be ready to eat my words as they go on and win 2-1. But no, at the moment, the Greeks have been unimaginative. They've passed the ball around, and this so-called really strong defensive side, we haven't seen an awful lot of it. I think there was issues over the Greek midfield, whether they were mobile enough to contain teams, and at the moment I'm not so sure they are.
Poland 1, Greece 0 as we approach half-time. 6 or so minutes, plus plenty of added time as well to come before the half-time break. Greece coming forward, the ball on the left-hand side. Holibas in the Polish right-back area, but the challenge comes in, puts it out for a throw, level with the edge of the Polish penalty area. Everything positive for Poland is being applauded and cheered by the home supporters. Would have been quite a feat, I would imagine, to get a ticket for this game today. Absolutely packed out, the 50,000 here. First of the 5 games that will be held in this stadium, including the first of the semi-finals. Odds heavily stacked against Poland being involved in that. throwing into the Polish penalty area. It's headed away, but they're leading in this game, and that's what matters at the moment, by a goal to nil. That Lewandowski header. Torosidis, full Greece on the right hand side, trying to take it out towards the corner flag, wanted to wrap his foot around that, but well watched by Rebus, the midfielder, the left-sided midfielder, who came back and blocked it out for a corner, which is Greece's first corner of the game.
Well, an opportunity now for Ninis to put some quality in. So far his free kicks have been a bit erratic so far. You know, he's driven a couple in and haven't really worked.
Ninis then with the corner in towards the near post, aiming for Gekas, but it was headed away. He was well watched there, Gekas. It was Eugen Polanski, who was right behind him and headed it out for... It's going to be another corner, isn't it? Right next to the corner flag where it went out of play. Ninis takes this. Szczesny comes for it, gets a punch to it rather acrobatically. Wasn't sure he was going to make that for a moment, but he got his right fist to it. Ball cleared away downfield. Blaszczykowski chasing after it, and he's charged down the clearance from Holibas. Blaszczykowski has got it now on the ground. Crosses it into the penalty area, but it hits Holibas and screws away for a corner to Poland. They changed that in a matter of seconds, Poland, from a corner to Greece at one end to a corner to Poland at the other.
Well, I think, Szczesny came out with a decent punch. You don't mind that, even if it's not the greatest punch. If you know your keeper's coming, you can protect him, get around him. That's what's happened. Poland were then first to the ball, and Blaszczykowski, well, fantastic, shut down Holibas, closed the shot down, and then was a little bit isolated, possibly a little bit fortunate to get a corner, but fantastic work rate from the Polish.
5 minutes to go to half-time. Poland corner. Here it comes into the middle. Halkias comes for it. There's nowhere again, and it's cleared away as it bounced down by Maniatis. Poland again pick up possession on the right-hand side, but the cross is blocked all the way back into the Polish half, where Szczesny will actually come and collect possession. 5 minutes to go to the break. Poland 1, Greece 0 on 5 Live. Szczesny now long and forward, aiming for Lewandowski, who's really been a presence for Poland up front, the Borussia Dortmund man who scored the goal. But it's dealt with this time by the Greeks. And now it's given away very carelessly there by Katsouranis. Ball actually runs to Bernish, and he's given it away. And now Torosidis down the right. Torosidis cross, took a deflection, and then sliding across came Vasilevsky foot first to get to it, to send it behind, but he seems to have fallen awkwardly. And his heavily tattooed left arm is being held, and it might be his left wrist. He's okay, he's back on his feet.
Yeah, it went down a little bit dramatically. I thought it was something very, very serious, but it's not. But again, Ninis has the opportunity from this corner.
Ninis plays it into the near post again, aiming for Katsouranis, who swung a leg at it. Cleared away though. Ninis crosses it again. Headed away for Poland this time. Comes out for Maniatis. Now Ninis again. Ninis is crossed into the Polish penalty area. Headed away by Perkis, who was doing his job there. His first and foremost job as a central defender, to clear the penalty area. If he'd been able to do a striker's job at the other end, 2-0 would have sent Poland absolutely crazy, I think.
I think the game would have been all over, dead and buried. But so far, Ninis was supposedly one to watch for the Greeks. He's had plenty of opportunities from dead ball situations and crosses, and he hasn't really put any quality in of note as yet.
Here he is again though, Ninis with the back heel. That's awful. He tried to set up Torosidis, and his back heel was nowhere near him.
It's almost like he's trying too hard. He realises this is a big stage. Obviously there's a bit of pressure on him, because he has been marked as one of those players to watch, and he's just trying to force the issue, just trying to put too much pace on the crosses, and it's not quite working for him.
He has already got a big move sorted out this summer, as Perkis and Bernish go for the same ball. That could have ended in calamity. Ninis with a cross. Again, it's not good enough from Ninis. He actually ends up with his head down there as his cross was cleared by Perkis. Mention Ninis, who will be on his way to Parma this summer, moving from Panathinaikos to Parma. But when we were at training last night, Danny, Roberto Martinez appeared on the scene, who I know is out here working in the media, but I hope it isn't betraying a confidence to say that he was interested to watch the Greeks train. I think we maybe could take it that there could be one or two members of this Greek squad that Roberto Martinez might be interested in. And also, interestingly, he was telling us that he doesn't consider Spain to be the favourites to win Euro 2012, which I thought was Interesting coming from a Spaniard.
Well, I think the fact that they do have one or two injury problems, they do seem to have a little bit of weariness. I think we have to wait until possibly their first, even second. We have to remember they lost their opening game of the World Cup campaign. So sometimes opening games don't tell you everything. But no, I think he's right. I think the Dutch certainly for me will be up there challenging the Spanish.
Another free kick to Poland. Morawski was fouled there by Papastathopoulos. Socrates, if you prefer. And it's a second yellow card. And a red card in the opening match for Socrates Papastathopoulos. And Greece are 1-0 down and down to 10 men before half-time. And he cannot believe it. He cannot believe it. He's holding his face. He's praying. He's putting his hands together and praying to the referee to change his decision. But, Socrates, that ain't going to happen.
Well, I think that's another very, very harsh booking.
Well, I don't know about you, Danny. I felt that Morawski was already going to ground by the time that
he slipped.
Papastathopoulos put his hands on him.
As he went to turn, he just slipped and his right foot gave way. He was stumbling, starting to go to ground, and there was the smallest of touches, and he did fall over. The first booking was incredibly harsh. The second one is incredibly harsh. And I was just looking at Fernando Santos, the Greek manager, just slumped into his chair and sort of shrunk about 3 inches and just shook his head and looked the most miserable man on the planet. And I can understand why. Obviously, the opening game, referees are given a directive to go out and really clamp down on things. But that, for me, that's over-refereeing. That's a little bit poor.
He still hasn't left the field yet, and he's still praying. And now he's talking to Franciszek Żmuda, the Polish coach, and making that praying motion to him. Play continues. Free kick to Poland into the penalty area, and it's headed wide. It's Perkis again who is there to get his head to it. His second chance to score, and this time it was headed wide at the far post.
Well, I think couldn't have gone better for the hosts so far. 1-0 up. They've played well. They've controlled the game. The Greeks, well, surprisingly, have looked all over the place. The Polish have created several decent chances. Could have quite easily seen the game off. I can't say, ridiculous sending off. Can't tell you how poor those two decisions were. The first booking ridiculous, second one ludicrous. Greece are now a man down, and I think it's going to take a miracle from a Greek god, I think, for them to get back in this game.
Oh, yeah, there might be one. Cross into the penalty area. Ninis, Perkis blocked it. It hit his arm, and now the Greek players are running around. They're running towards the referee, and he will have none of this. It's a yellow card for Holibas immediately. He must have said something to the referee about that.
Was that handball?
Yes, yes.
I think from Perkis.
Yes, it hit his hand.
He slid in,
hit his arm,
missed the ball, and then it rolled and hit his elbow. I certainly would have given a penalty. And
of course we had the additional assistant referees, and it happened almost under his nose.
See, this is where I have a massive issue with just watching the replay. Definitely hits his hand. He falls on the ball.
But Danny, can he do anything about
No,
that?
he can't. It's certainly not deliberate. And looking at it there, it's maybe the slightest of touches with his elbow. I think, it certainly was accidental. It wasn't intentional. And in all fairness, the ball wasn't really going anywhere. The ball had almost already stopped. So it wasn't like he gained any sort of advantage by that. And, well, on reflection, possibly decent refereeing. But again, another booking for the Greece, and they are getting severely rattled by this.
It could easily have been given as a penalty for Greece. But I don't know. Are you saying, Danny, that on reflection?
Yeah, well, I'm normally one for any sort of handball. If you gain an advantage, whether it's intentional or not, I think you should give a penalty. There wasn't really any advantage gained. The ball had almost stopped from the sliding challenge. It rolled almost from his rib cage just onto up a little bit and onto his arm. I don't think there was an awful lot in it, and I think it would have been an incredibly harsh penalty.
Well, plenty for Mark Pugac to talk about at half-time. He is here in the stadium in Warsaw with us, just to our right. He'll be picking up when the half-time whistle goes. David Pleat and Robbie Savage back in the studio as well.
And of course, it would have been a very brave decision to give a penalty against the host nation when it was a dubious one.
Very much so. And there's the half-time whistle. Only 3 minutes of added time. I think it could have been 2 or 3 minutes more than that. And cheers from the home supporters. They've made it to half-time, leading by a goal to nil. Wonderful first half for them, given everything, given the build-up. Lewandowski's header, the highlight, obviously, for them. The only positive thing that you can say for Greece is that it actually could be a lot worse. They could be 2 or 3 goals down in this game. As it is, they are down to 10 men. The controversial sending off is Socrates Papastathopoulos. So they'll have to play the remainder of the match with 10 men. And at half-time, it is Poland 1, Greece 0. Yes, and I hate to let down David Pleat, because I don't like doing that. I really don't like doing that. But he will not see Ninis pushing forward in the second half because he's been substituted. Salpigidis, the experienced Dimitris Salpigidis, has come on to replace him, and Salpigidis is going to play on that right-hand side. So that's the second change that Greece have made of their permitted 3. Poland leading Greece by a goal to nil as the second half begins. Lewandowski's header from David was absolutely right as well. A tremendous cross from Blaszczykowski from the right hand side that we probably didn't talk about enough at the time, Danny Mills. Such a good cross it was. But I'll run you through the teams in full in a moment. But the Poles have got a spring in their step, and they've got support from the stands here. And they've got a throw-in which is taken. Cross from the left-hand side, which is headed away at the near post. Comes out. There's a shanked shot on the edge of the penalty area. It's headed back in by Blaszczykowski, then nodded away by Greece on the edge of their own penalty area. Poland in their first choice kit. The white shirts with the red band across the chest. The famous white eagle is there in its badge on the left breast. Red shorts, white socks. And the Greeks in their change kit. The all-blue kit with the white trim. Poland, no changes for them so far. Szczesny, the goalkeeper. Back four of Piszczek, Wasilewski, Piakas and Bernish. Midfield is Morawski and Polanski with Braniak pushing forward. Blaszczykowski on the right, Ribas on the left, and goal scorer Lewandowski through the middle. And Greece now with Halkias in goal, Torosidis at right back. Katsouranis has dropped back into central defence with Kyriakos Papadopoulos, the first of the subs. Holebas at left back. And the rest of the Greek side in a moment, because Poland breaking away down the left, but a good challenge comes in from Torosidis to win it back. So the midfield now for Greece: Salpigidis, Maniatis, Karagounas and Samaras, with Gekas still as their lone striker. Poland leading 10-man Greece by a goal to nil. Socrates Papastathopoulos sent off right at the end of the first half. Lewandowski now inside the box, shoots from an angle but was falling and scooped it up over the angle of post and bar, and a goal kick to Greece. Danny Mills.
But Lewandowski is certainly is the threat. No wonder, he's been obviously possibly linked with Manchester United. He looks really sharp. He's a threat aerially. His movement is very, very good. Of course, scored a phenomenal amount of goals for Dortmund so far this season. It looks really promising, and it obviously is the focal point of Poland's attack and everything they do. But he's getting good service. The midfield players, I think, are doing very, very well.
Novak Djokovic has got match point in Paris. Jonathan.
And he completes it. A 47th unforced error of the match from Roger Federer into the net. And Djokovic through to play Nadal in the final on Sunday here. And Djokovic now just one match away from becoming the first man since Rod Laver in 1969 to hold all 4 major championships at the same time.
Thank you, Jonathan. Poland leading Greece by a goal to nil in the opening match at Euro 2012 in what is quite a steamy atmosphere, actually, underneath the closed roof of Warsaw's National Stadium. That is the thing, it keeps the noise in, and the atmosphere I think is enhanced, but it does feel quite humid in here to me.
Well, I think again because of the weather outside, very, very close, very muggy outside. It's almost looks like a fine haze, just sort of starting to filter through from above the roof.
Well, we did wonder, didn't we, you and I, yesterday, as to whether they would put air conditioning on inside the stadium. I think it's moving towards needing that. Well, I'm not a big fan of air conditioning, I don't know about you. Here's Gekas through the middle up front. Never been sure about that very hot, very cold sort of thing.
Yeah, you have to be careful when you open the windows what can come in.
Yes, Samaras on the left-hand side. Holebas now for Greece, who are a goal down, and it could be worse, because Poland also had a couple of really good opportunities to increase their lead in the first half. But an awful start to Euro 2012 for the Greeks. Down to 10 men and trailing here by a goal to nil. And as they pass the ball around inside the Polish half at the moment, with Poland getting all of their full complement behind the ball, and then Karagounis actually just being bowled over in the centre circle, shoved over by Moravsky. But just have the feeling that Greece need a bit of sparkle here. It looks as though they're almost relying on winning set pieces and seeing if they can create a goal from that.
Well, they've had no invention, no purpose going forward. They've sat back and they haven't even defended particularly well.
However, here they come, ball in from the right hand side, goalkeeper comes through, Chesney's lost it, and it's scooped into the net, and Greece have conjured up an equaliser through Salpingidis, the substitute. Chesney's at fault there, the loose ball fell free and Salpingidis slid in, and against the odds needed Poland 1, Greece 1.
Well, I said they would need some sort of miracle, maybe to get back in it from the Greek gods, and they've certainly got one. Again, it was something from absolutely nothing. I think it was the fullback on the far side. It was Benish, just got caught wrong side. It was a good ball whipped in, and Szczesny came for a ball. He was diving full stretch. Really, no reason to come for that cross whatsoever. I think it hit his own defender. And then, as you said, Salpingidis really had an open goal. Piszczek on the line, no real chance. Well, what a fantastic substitution from Fernando Santos, the manager. Took off Ninis, who wasn't doing particularly well. Substitute comes on, I think possibly with his first or even second touch, scores a goal.
Well, if you're Greek and you're listening to us, we've got some good news for you. An equaliser, it's 1-1, and for the first time, Danny, the first time today, we're seeing Greeks with smiles on their faces in the corner of the National Stadium. They've got their blue and white flags and they are dancing up and down. They're producing some banners from somewhere I know not, and they're waving them above their heads. And the Polish supporters, for a moment, were silenced but are now responding. It's 1-1 here. And Poland now, who could have been out of sight against the Greeks, find themselves pegged back by substitute Salpingidis' goal 6 minutes after he came on as a half-time substitute. So 1-1 on BBC 5 Live. Samaras has lost it, and now Błaszczykowski will move down the right. Samaras tackling back, gets a touch, and it's cleared away on the edge of the Greek penalty area, and they're able to play it away actually, as then Maniatis might have been fouled there, but the referee has waved advantage. Karagounis now for Greece. This obviously the best spell of Euro 2012 for them so far, but it's lost. And Obraniak now down the right hand side. Błaszczykowski's available on the right hand side, the Polish captain. Now into the penalty area from him, but it bounces away and is played away by Maniatis. And Greece with the goal scorer Salpingidis, who is fouled. Greece have a free kick inside their own half.
I think Franciszek Szmuda will be absolutely furious with his team. Of course, they got in at half time, could have been 3 or 4 up with a bit more luck, you know, and would have just said to his team, look, you've done everything right so far, carry on, don't give anything away, don't give Greece any sort of hope in the first 10-15 minutes of this second half. And of course, one lapse in concentration suddenly then leads to another. So Szczesny had nothing to do the whole game, came for a cross that he didn't need to come for. The defender got a touch, and of course the ball literally dropped down, stopped dead, and Salpingidis puts them 1-1. And that, a goal out of absolute nothing, gets the Greeks back into it, and almost despair, I think, for the Polish.
That's Danny Mills, the former England World Cup defender, with us here in Poland for this opening match of Euro 2012, and we're watching Poland 1, Greece 1 from the upper tier of the National Stadium. And Senor Carballo's getting the cards out again. A yellow for Karagounis, the Greek captain, for, well, a deliberate handball inside his own half. But that is now Karagounis booked, Holebas booked, and 2 yellows for Papastathopoulos, who was sent off. But he's still not up to his average. Mark mentioned the refereeing statistics for him at half-time. Just in all of his matches this season, he's shown 15 red cards in 31 games in all competitions, and at least 5 yellow cards per match is his average. So I think we'll see another 1 or 2 before the end of the game. It is Poland in possession with Moravsky, who thought about going left but then cut in field, but the pass was not good and gave Obraniak no chance with it really. Here is now Karagounis, the Greek captain, who plays it back to the right back Torosidis, who goes for a long ball, that's absolutely awful, and just runs away through to Szczesny at the other end of the field. Poland 1, Greece 1. Still the Greek supporters celebrate I remember them so well from Euro 2004, watching a number of their games throughout that tournament, which resulted, of course, in their very finest hour, the victory in Lisbon against Portugal in the final, with Carastaias scoring the goal. And I think it was mildly controversial that Carastaias wasn't called on for this squad, but they've been able to find their first goal nevertheless through Salpigidis. But defending at the moment, as Moravski makes a little dart through the inside left area, then plays it back towards Polanski. Now to the left hand side, Poland once more looking for the pass through to Obraniak near the corner of the box, but it's cleared out of play for another throw into Poland halfway inside the Greek half. Poland 1, Greece 1. Russia against Czech Republic is our second commentary match tonight from Wroclaw, with Alistair Bruce Ball and Pat Nevin. Howard Webb's team of officials will be in charge of that one. Hope he has an easier ride of it than Senor Caballo has had in this game. Ball forward for Poland, but it just bounces through off a glancing header for Halkias to come out and claim it. Danny.
Well, I think now this could be difficult second half for Poland. Of course, that certainly hasn't gone to plan. But of course now we've seen so many times this season teams with 10 men sitting behind the ball, playing for a draw, being very, very organised. As we know, well, the Greeks were supposed to be. They didn't really show signs of that in the first half. They look a little bit more settled already. But now it's very, very difficult to break teams down. The Greeks sat back enough as it was. They will do that even more now. And Poland may come to rue those missed chances.
Obraniak might have been fouled there. Reaches Lewandowski, who is fouled, just bundled over really. 25 yards out, left of centre. Free kick to Poland with almost an hour played. Another thing that struck me when we were listening to the two coaches and some of the players when they were speaking to us in the stadium last night here was the fact that there was a sort of unwritten agreement that should it reach the 70-minute mark of this game and it's level, then it may well be that both of them look to shut up shop and make sure that they don't lose this game. But almost an hour played and it is level at 1-1. Obraniak, I think, likes the look of this free kick on his left foot. Ribas is there as well. Both of them positioned just to the right of the ball. The free kick is left of centre, be 25 yards out, somewhere between 25 and 30 yards out. The Greek wall is lined up. Obraniak will strike it well, but across the goal and across Halkias' dive as well and through for a goal kick, so it remains 1-1 on 5 Live.
It was going to have to be a brilliant strike from that distance. Tried to take the wall out of the equation rather than go over it, tried to go past it, but the goalkeeper was already placed that side, and it would have had to be something really special to beat Halkias from that distance. It wasn't. He maybe just tried to hit it a little bit too hard, and well, unfortunately dragged it wide. But just seeing the goal again as the cross comes in, Szczesny goes for a ball where he has no right to go and try and claim that ball. It's not a high ball, it's a low cross, and really the defender and the centre forward get in each other's way, and the ball just drops down to Salpigidis, who taps it home from 6.5, 7 yards out. Poor goalkeeper, and Szczesny stood a steady in his line and defended it.
Well, it's been an eventful opening game that we've had for you. Poland 1, Greece 1. Greece with a long ball forward towards Samaras, who's up for it, didn't know where the ball had went, headed it in field. Now Karagounis takes charge of the bouncing ball and makes a run out towards the right hand side, just slips, does manage to cross it left footed. Szczesny comes and takes it easily on the bounce at his near post. I think we can probably tell the listeners now, Danny, that you and I thought that let's put it this way, this might not be the best game at Euro 2012.
Well, I think,
but it has been one that we've not been able to take our eyes off.
No, we've been very, very surprised. I think we looked at this, two very, very defensive teams, very well organised. Neither of them score a fantastic amount of goals, and we thought it had 0-0 and a bit of a bore draw written all over it. But thankfully, we've been proved wrong. There's been plenty of incident, rightly or wrongly. A couple of goals already, and I'm sure there'll either be, well, certainly more cards, but hopefully at least another goal before the end of the game.
Yeah, there have been some decisions I'm sure not everyone will agree with from the Spanish referee, but it's helped our neutral cause. Poland coming forward, the ball played by Vasilevski towards the edge of the box, it's headed away, and then Karagounis tried to nod it into the path of Salpigidis, and it was just a little too far ahead of him, and he came in with a challenge on Bernish, the Polish left back, and I think Senor Caballo might have thought about another yellow card there, but has decided not. So Salpigidis who actually did get a touch on the ball. But it's a free kick anyway.
It was one of those challenges that was maybe just from the referee's perspective, looked a little bit over-aggressive. It was sprinting, tackle from behind, you always run the risk of giving a foul away.
Poland 1, Greece 1. And Wasilewski, the centre-back, to Morawski now. Morawski rolls the ball through the middle to Lewandowski, who's not been able to get into the game in the second half. Morawski continued his run and very nearly got a fortunate bounce of the ball into the penalty area. Cleared away by Greece towards the left-hand side. Ribas is there. 4 Polish players inside the penalty area. It's delivered into the box via a deflection, but controlled and cleared by Kyriakos Papadopoulos, the substitute who came on for his namesake. Back to Poland in the centre circle. Polska. Get used to the sound of that for as long as Poland are in the tournament. Trying to raise their team to find another goal and move back in front in this opening game. It's with Obraniak on the left-hand side. Played down into the full-back position. Ribas is after it, but he's fouled his man. And it's a free kick to Greece in their own right-back position.
Well, again, I think Poland are going to find this very, very difficult now. You know, that the Greeks have, well, I think have already settled for a point, unless they get, you know, a breakaway goal or a set piece. You know, they're quite happy from the position that they were in. Goal down, man sent off, you know, to take the draw. And I think now that, you know, this is where the likes of Brzoskowski are going to find it. You know, can he get down in the wide positions and get crosses in? That's what he did in the first half. Well supported from Piszczek from right back as well. Obraniak, again, he was key in the first half, putting little slide rule balls into Lewandowski. But, you know, can they do that with the organisation from the Greeks? So far, second half, that the Poles, I think, have gone a bit flat after that goal.
Poland 1, Greece 1. And the red and white scarves are being twirled again all around the stadium underneath this pale coloured roof above our heads. It's a PVC, almost canopy style roof that moves across from a plinth high above the centre circle, and it lets lots of daylight in. Even saying that, the floodlights are on now, and down on pitch level, Greece have got a throw-in level with the edge of the Polish penalty area. It's going to be left for Holibas, the German-born Holibas, who was only given clearance to play for Greece during the course of this past season in November. Takes the throw to Karagounis playing the ball from foot to foot and then giving it back to Maniatis, who plays it in field now, and Katsouranis will lift the ball over the top to Samaras. Chance for Greece. Samaras with an angle, sliced it well wide as Szczesny came out.
Well, I think Manchester City fans will know that all too well. As it came over the top, Samaras didn't look confident, looked a little bit awkward on his left-hand side, really waited too long for the spinning ball, and when it bounced up, was really a little bit under his feet, no real balance, and sliced it wide. Was a half opportunity, but he needs to take it a lot quicker than that and show a bit more confidence.
Yep. Celtic supporters as well will probably also be nodding and thinking that Danny Mills is absolutely right. 1-1. If Greece were to take the lead in this game, well, none of us saw that coming at half-time. 1-1. Here is Obraniak now through to Lewandowski. Lewandowski is challenged strongly by young Papadopoulos, and Greece are able to get it away. Fair challenge it was. Samaras is caught there. The pass just under hit to him. Now Piszczek takes on the left back Holibas and doesn't get past him, but then is able to pick up possession again. Piszczek, the Borussia Dortmund right back, plays it to his clubmate. Now in field again. Obraniak is on the ball just outside the D. Morawski wants it. Instead it goes back towards Polanski. Left foot shot from him, blocked by a diving Karagounis, and the ball skews out for a throw out on the left hand side, and Karagounis has stayed down. Not sure whether he's just taken that in the nether regions or whether there is a problem. Well, he is now signalling. I think it might be his right leg where the problem is.
Yeah, I think that the block has caught his ankle, maybe just twisted his foot, or maybe a little bit of play acting just to try and run the clock down and slow the tempo down a little bit.
Just over an hour played, 65 minutes to be precise. Poland 1, Greece 1. And Piszczek now for Poland. Blasz Tchaikovsky crosses from the right hand side towards the back post, headed up and away, and also a foul given for Ribas's challenge inside the box on, I think, Torosidis, and it's a free kick to Greece inside their own box.
Well, I think this is going to become what we're going to see more and more in the second half. Every time there's a little bit of an incident, Greek players are going to go down, roll around on the floor, try and run the clock down as much as possible, and we don't really want to see that. But that's the first time we've seen Błaszczykowski get the ball out wide and get a ball into the box, and that's where they created so many problems in the first half. I think Poland, to really take advantage of the extra man, just need to up their tempo slightly. It's very, very humid in this stadium, and the Greeks will certainly tire with a man less.
So 1-1 is the score. I should say as well, Danny, a lot of nervous tension for a game like this, as Samaras slips it through, but Salpikidis was in an offside position and knew it, so didn't even go for the ball, and then Samaras challenges for it and concedes a throw in the right back position. An awful lot of nervous tension for the co-hosts to play in the opening game. All of the expectation. They will have seen what we saw on the way to the ground here today, and how the city, the country, seemed to have come out onto the streets of Warsaw, and perhaps just a little bit of weariness in the Polish legs at the moment. Here's Polanski though, bringing it forward, and now Burnish, the left back, makes a run. There is space for him to control, and now cross into the box, and then a header from a difficult position. Rebus, from an angle, tried to stun head it and glance it across into the top corner, but put it wide of the near post.
Yeah, and again, really, I suppose only a half sort of chance, if you can even say that about it. Very, very difficult header from well in front of in front of the near post to try and get that on target. But in the first half, Poland, they came out. I think the adrenaline was flowing. They were up for it. That the crowd were behind them. And they did everything right in that first half. They controlled the game. They played good football. And they looked purposeful. They came out, and a lapse in concentration, very, very early in the second half, has cost them dear. And that's a surprise, because now they look a little bit lost. And as you're right, they look a little bit weary. And as that adrenaline starts to wear off, they're struggling slightly.
Yeah, just wondering, Danny, whether a Polish substitution may be required. I think that might be Brozek, who was at Celtic towards the end of the season, who is preparing himself. But it's actually a final Greek change that we're going to see right now, and this is an interesting one. The teenager, the 19-year-old Kostas Fortounis of Kaiserslautern, who was actually a surprise selection in the squad to be in the 23, is coming on for Gekas, the central striker. So let's just see how they rejig, because Fortounis is a winger, really. And yes, Poland are going to bring on Brozek, who was on loan at Celtic towards the end of the season. He is going to be the first change that Poland make in this game. But it appears, Danny, that Samaras has now gone into the central striking position, and the new arrival Fortounis playing on the left-hand side, and Fortounis immediately slips the ball forward to Salpingidis, who is caught inside the penalty area by Szczesny, and it's a red card for the Arsenal goalkeeper, and it's a penalty to Greece, and they have a chance now, the Greeks, to take the lead in this opening game against the co-hosts.
I'll tell you, Szczesny has had an absolute nightmare. He's had nothing to do, concentration, it simply hasn't done it. Again, the substitution has possibly thrown the poles for a split second. I thought originally it was offside, but it was Salpingidis again breaking through, broke the offside trap. Szczesny comes out, and I'm not sure what he's trying to do. If he's going to come out, he's got to go with his hands. He looks off balance, he goes with his foot, brings down Salpingidis. Quite simply, the referee had no option but to give a penalty and send the goalkeeper off. Absolutely unbelievable. Szczesny has had very, very little to do, and the two things he has done completely wrong.
Well, we'll see no more of him in this match anyway. And obviously, before the penalty is taken, Poland are going to change their plans in terms of the substitution and bring on a substitute goalkeeper, who is Przemysław Tytoń, who is going to come on. Remember, no Lukasz Fabianski in the Polish squad, not fit enough. Artur Boruc wasn't considered. Tomasz Kuszak also not called into the squad. And so it is the 25-year-old Przemysław Tytoń who will come on, and the first thing he will do will face a Karagounis penalty kick. So on he comes, and
well, what a moment for the young goalkeeper. You know, either he's going to be he could make a name for himself, could be an absolute hero if he manages to save this.
It's only his 6th cap. Here he comes now, and on his way into goal, he actually has a feel of the ball and therefore moves it off the position that Karagounis very carefully placed it. So it is the vastly experienced Georgios Karagounis, the Greek captain, who has the chance here to shock the co-hosts and put Greece in front. Something that we certainly didn't feel that was possible at half-time. Karagounis with a penalty, it's saved by Titonia. The substitute goalkeeper leapt low to his left and pushed it away, and it remains 1-1.
Well, I tell you what a moment for the young goalkeeper. Comes on out of the blue, was probably third choice, didn't even think he'd make the squad. Comes on and he becomes an instant hero. It was a poor penalty from Karagounis, and watching the replay, it was soft. The keeper is a big keeper, it was a comfortable save, diving to his left, obviously had to make it, but he's become an absolute hero. And well, you heard the noise, it was almost like Poland scoring a goal.
It was, they're still on their feet. And in the first half, as Samaras heads the ball into the penalty area looking for Salpingidis, but it's cleared away by Poland. I suggested that Lewandowski had really made himself into a national hero. Well, I think Przemysław Titonia is someone that I'm sure no one expected to be talking about in this opening match, but he has very much played his part in his first experience, his first touch in a major football final, saving a penalty from Karagounis to maintain the score at Poland 1, Greece 1.
Well, what a day for him. I think he's only played about 20 games for PSV Eindhoven. Comes on, wouldn't have been expecting it, and suddenly, you know, an opportunity becomes an instant hero overnight. Poland now have got to use that momentum. They've got away with it. You know, in fact, we've just seen Szczesny in the tunnel watching the penalty and his reaction. He's absolutely delighted because he knows he's made 2 errors in this game. Well, he's got away with it at the moment.
Poland 1, Greece 1, and they're both down to 10 men now, remember. It's 10 against 10. And we've got less than 20 minutes to play. But it is Poland driving forward in the cross from Bernish into the middle, doesn't reach Lewandowski, it's cleared away, taken down by Braniak, but Greece are able to clear it. And I should mention as well, it was Rebus who was substituted when the goalkeeper Titonia came onto the field. So Poland still have 2 substitutions to make. Free kick to Greece, 15 yards inside their own half. That is chipped out towards this left-hand side. Well, they have dug deep, Greece, in this game. I don't know what their coach Fernando Santos, the Portuguese, said to them at half-time, but he brought on Salpingidis and he scored the equaliser, and if things had gone their way, they could easily be ahead in this match.
I think they've only had 2 shots, if my memory serves me right. You know, one of those Szczesny had to pick out of the back of the net, and the second shot, you know, the sub goalkeeper comes on and saves. You know, I can't really remember another proper shot on target.
Well, the statistics here say 3 on target, but like you, I'm struggling to think of the other one. Here they come again, ball into the middle. Oh, Greece have scored. Salpingidis is offside. It doesn't count. The cross from this left-hand side, from Fortounis, the substitute, across the 6-yard box. Salpingidis turned it into the net, but the flag was up instantly on the far side. Well, now was he? I think he was onside.
It was for the cross, wasn't it? Fortounis was the man given offside. I think from what we're seeing on our monitors, he gave it straight away. But I'm not sure he was offside. Well, I think we'll have to wait until we see it again. But I think really, what 2 fantastic substitutions from Fernando Santos.
Yeah.
Salpingidis has been involved in every single incident. Obviously, has scored one, had 1 disallowed, and was brought down for the penalty. Well, I'm pretty sure he'll be disappointed that he didn't start. But again, you know, the Polish got away with it. You know, from the first half, complete control of the game. Second half, they've just looked all over the place.
5 Live, Poland 1, Greece 1. Polish free kick towards the edge of the penalty area, bounces down and is cleared away on the edge of the box. And Greece look to counter-attack again. The angular, rather awkward, long-haired Samaras it's an awful pass behind all three of his teammates who were bursting forward, and Poland are able to counter-attack the counter-attack. Lewandowski, that looked like a foul that Poland should have won near the centre circle for the challenge on Błaszczykowski, and I think he has eventually brought it back for the free kick to Poland just right of the circle.
Yeah, he was trying to play advantage to the referee. I'm not quite sure why. The ball had gone well wide, but now with 15 minutes to go, again I'm sure there's going to be more incidents. Of course, it's now 10v10, and players are certainly going to tire.
We've just seen the one replay of the disallowed Greek goal, so we've only had one chance to see it, but it was Samaras who glanced it on to Fortounis, who, I have to say, I felt he was level with the defender. Are you saying Mark Pugac is just to our left, that you disagree? You think he was offside? Mark's saying by a gnat's whisker he thinks that he was offside. So the referee might have got that one right, but I'll reserve judgment until I see it again. Poland 1, Greece 1. Lots to talk about from this game, as Greece struggled to get it away, and the whistle has gone. That must be for a shove, I think, on Katsouranis on the edge of the penalty area, so it's a free kick to Poland in front of their own box. So 1-1 here, the other game in the group. You'll hear that tonight on 5 Live, 7:45. Do see if you can see the highlights tonight, which are on BBC One at 11:30. So many talking points in this game, and in between this match and the later kick-off, when Mark Chapman takes over, he'll be talking to Clarence Seedorf, who's part of the BBC team, and what he has to say about the goings-on with the Dutch squad will be well worth listening to, I'm sure. Into the last 15 minutes here. No sign of them shutting up shop, Danny. Here it goes up towards Salpingidis, the Greek goal scorer, controls it beautifully and gives it out to the right, and then a dipping shot from right out on that far side by Torosidis, which was nowhere near threatening Titonya's goal. So 1-1 it remains. Salpingidis with the equaliser, having scored in South Africa, Greece's first ever goal at a World Cup finals. He's now scored their opening goal here at the European Championship finals, and I'm reliably informed that he's the first Greek player to score at both a World Cup and a European Championship. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Ball cleared away by Papadopoulos, but that's got way too much on it and will just bounce through to Titonia, who underarms it out to Vasilevsky. And now Moravsky approaches the halfway line. Poland just keeping the ball. From the very point that I said no sign of shutting up shop, suddenly there has been an element of that in the game.
Well, I think every time we've made a comment,
I was just going to say we should have mentioned
we've shot ourselves in the foot every single time. So I'm going to say there's going to be no more goals.
The Greek equaliser was a classic example of the art of putting your foot in your mouth from both of us. I think we both just passed the opinion that there was little or no chance of Greece scoring in the game when Salpingidis popped up with the equaliser.
But he's certainly been the difference in the second half. He's come on, he's had a lot more energy than Ninis.
Now here's Obraniak inside the box on the right-hand side, and he overruns it through for a goal kick. Well, Kyriakos Papadopoulos, the young central defender, came across and just did enough, just a little nudge. Well, he did put his arm up against him, but I'm not sure it was quite enough to warrant what would have had to have been a penalty.
Yeah, no, I think that's good defending. He stood his ground. He's a big, strong lad, and really, he wasn't going to let him past. I don't think you can really give a penalty for that one.
He's another name to remember, by the way, Kyriakos Papadopoulos. He is another player who may well, at some stage, end up in the Premier League. He is very highly thought of. Just over 10 minutes to play. Still Poland 1, Greece 1. And free kick for a foul on Maniatis, just forward of the centre circle. And Karagounis is quickly across there. Great disappointment for him to have failed from the penalty spot. But now Fortounis crosses from the left, cleared away, only out to Maniatis, who first touch was heavy, and it's been nicked back by Poland. Polanski, he loses out, so Karagounis now carries it forward. Karagounis just rolls it to the teenager Fortounis, and now Maniatis gets involved again. Back it goes into the centre circle. Katsouranis, having dropped back into central defence after the sending off at the end of the first half. Katsouranis plays it forward, comes back to him now. There's space for Fortounis in the central area, chips it forward, cleared away, comes out to Samaras, controls it and absolutely punts it wide and high into the Greek supporters behind the goal.
Well, I'm going to say, what else did you expect? I've seen that many a time on the training ground from George Samaras. Again, he's gangly, he's awkward, no real control in that volley, and blazes it high and wide off the outside of his foot. But the Greeks now suddenly look the stronger team. Incredible. Salpingidis is certainly, one of the main reasons for that. He's got energy, he's got purpose going forward, and the Poles are a completely different side to what they were in the first half. Maybe that adrenaline that they used, they played so well in the first half, a little bit of complacency, and then of course the goal rocked them badly, and they simply haven't tested Halkias in the Greek goal in the second half.
So into the last 10 minutes of the opening match of Euro 2012 we go on 5 Live. Every game of the tournament here on 5 Live, or Sports Extra, from every ground. And it is the Greeks with it. Katsouranis will roll it into the centre circle to Maniatis. Back it goes towards Papadopoulos. And now Katsouranis again just moves around Lewandowski and then overhits the ball forward, but Titonia will allow to bounce through for a goal kick. Well, they are raising themselves, the Polish supporters, and the time has been reached where they're all standing on their feet and holding their red and white Polska scarves above their heads and trying to see through the co-hosts to at least a point in this opening match. Blaszczykowski plays it down the line for Piszczek. We've seen little or nothing of this in the second half. Now it comes back. The cross is swirled over by Obraniak, but over the top of Lewandowski in the middle, and it'll bounce out for a throw-in on the right. Still, Żmuda, the Polish coach, has not made a change, if you like, on the outfield players. The only substitution was made when Ribas was taken off after the sending off of Szczesny.
And you would think a little bit of, fresh legs, new impetus, something a little bit different needs to change, because that's the first time that the Poles have got down this right-hand side. Piszczek he cut the ball back, and Obraniak really just, the cross was too deep, but there was only Lewandowski in the box for him to hit. Surrounded it by 3, 4 Greek players. They're not going to score in that way.
Oh, this is good from Poland. 1 or 2 nice passes. Reaches Obraniak on the right-hand side. Piszczek wants it behind him. Obraniak crosses into the penalty area. Headed away. Comes out to Polanski. He's on his left foot. Round one man. Shoots low but straight at goalkeeper Halkias, who just drops on it really and holds it into his gold shirt.
Yeah, a little bit better from Poland. Obraniak cutting back on his favoured left foot, trying to put the cross in. Didn't quite work out for him. And then just as the ball was cleared, Polanski, you could tell he wanted the ball to drop. It wouldn't quite drop. He had to have another touch. Then went a little bit wider and almost scuffed his shot, and a very, very easy, comfortable save for Halkias to just fall on.
Danny Mills with us here. Poland 1, Greece 1. It's been a really enjoyable afternoon for us to watch as neutrals. Certainly the wonderful colour of that little opening ceremony that we had before kick-off, and the Hungarian piano player keeping the ball up in the centre circle, and all of those inflatables, and then the game, which has certainly lived up to it with the incident, 2 sendings off, 2 goals, lots of other chances, and 1-1 with just under 7 minutes plus added time to play. Well, Samaras is getting another chance here, receiving the ball inside the Polish half and moving forward, and then giving it to Karagounis. And Karagounis now trying to make up for the missed penalty, shoots from 25 yards in an angle, and it whizzes high over the top of the bar.
Yeah, very ambitious from that distance. New keeper coming on, hasn't really been tested since the penalty. I don't think has a save to make. There's been very little goalmouth action compared to what we saw in the first half. But now I think both teams starting to tire slightly. 1 or 2 giving the ball away. But again, I still think there'll be 1 or 2 chances left in this game. 7, maybe 8 minutes left. It's all about composure. Can you take that opportunity when it arises?
Yes, a little tense now as the ball's played over the top for Lewandowski to hit a shot from an angle, but into the side netting, bouncing for him, sat up for him after the ball was hit forward from the halfway line by Vasilevsky, but shooting wide from the angle.
Yeah, difficult position. A good little ball over the top into the clear, just running past the angle of the 18-yard box, and if he's going to score, he's got to try and go far post. I think maybe just came off the top of his boot and into the side netting.
Yes, tense here inside the stadium now. Closing stages with the score 1-1. I'm sure it'll be likewise over the river in the centre of Warsaw as well, in the fan park that is round that extraordinary building, which is like something out of Gotham City. It's very much a communist monument. The Joseph Stalin Palace of Culture and Science as its full name, although I believe now they've dropped the Joseph Stalin from the title, and it is just the Palace of Culture and Science, which is probably understandable. But they'll be gathered round there. We heard from Lee James in the centre of town, and I think it might be an idea for you and I to have a little wander down there later when the Russia-Czech Republic game is going on. I think it could be lively.
I think we'll have to soak up the atmosphere for research purposes. Get to see what the locals are up to.
Here's Lewandowski now for Poland, playing it through, but well worked the defence, and the clearance is made, and a free kick actually for the challenge on the edge of the box. A free kick to Greece in front of their own penalty area. Yes, and we'll have to make sure that we don't get one of those expensive taxis. But we know the form now. If you're coming to Warsaw for Euro 2012, you need to look in the window of the taxi, because it tells you how many zlotys you will be paying for every kilometre that you travel.
And even then they charge you a little bit more, as we found out.
They do. In actual fact, we've almost become bosom buddies with one of the taxi drivers here, who keeps on turning up like the proverbial bad zloty.
And it just happened to be the one that sort of overcharges about that 10 times.
It is him, isn't it?
So beware any English fans coming out of rogue taxi drivers.
Yes. Poland 1, Greece 1. 4 minutes to play. And is it or is it not petering out? We'll see. Free kick to the Greeks. 10 yards inside the Polish half. And Katsourakis is coming forward. And I think Papadopoulos has gone forward as well, hasn't he?
But no one's in a great hurry to take this. I think both teams now.
Free kick surely was not conceded where it's been taken.
10 yards further back, but the Greeks have rolled the ball forward. No one seems to be complaining about it, and well, this could be one of those opportunities I was talking about.
Karagounis with this free kick, standing with his hands on his hips. Karagounis makes a false start forward. Line held just inside the Polish box. Karagounis plays it in, and it's headed away by Lewandowski on the edge of the box. Biggest cheer that you could possibly hear for a headed clearance on the edge of a team's penalty area, and relief from the home supporters. So a free kick actually, which is papped short by the Poles, and they're just knocking it around now. Perkis, seems a long time ago now that Perkis had those chances in the first half. A wonderful opportunity to make it 2-0 that the central defender shot wide. Samaras puts in a challenge and wins the ball back. Poland wanted a free kick for that challenge on Vasilevsky, not given. Now Karagounis lifts the ball over the top for the dangerous Salpingidis, but Titonia is quickly out and is able to hold the ball into his shirt, the substitute goalkeeper, after Szczesny was sent off. So he will obviously be suspended for the game against Russia here on Tuesday. And after Titonia's penalty save, surely it'll be the second choice who will play in that game. Oh, it breaks down for Poland, this latest attack, when it's just passed away by Obraniak, and Samaras allows it to roll out of play for a throw-in to Greece halfway inside their own half. So 1-1, Russia against Czech Republic to come. 4 more games on 5 Live this weekend, all of the Euro 2012 games, including the fascinating Group B, which gets underway as the tournament gets underway in Ukraine tomorrow. So we'll bring you all the sounds of Ukraine tomorrow in the 2 commentaries, and then on Sunday when the Republic of Ireland get involved, and we'll also have Spain against Italy for you, the last game of the weekend. Roberto Martinez, I mentioned our conversation with him a little earlier. He strongly felt that the winners of the tournament will come from Group B. Lewandowski now running at the Greek defence, but running into Papadopoulos and bouncing off him almost.
Yeah,
he is a big lad.
Very good defending, just stood his ground. It was a good breakaway from Lewandowski. Tried to almost nick the ball one side and run round the other. But again, Papadopoulos just stood his ground. He's built like a tank, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Big, strong lad, stocky lad. Lewandowski just runs straight into him, and good decision by the referee not to give a free kick.
We've got 1 minute plus added time to go. Poland 1, Greece 1, BBC 5 Live. The sun's come out again. We can see still just a little remainder of it shining in through the glass panels in the roof as the ball is played forward towards Samaras, headed away by Piszczek, who goes down rather lamely, and then Blaszczykowski also might have been fouled, or is it just a throw-in that's been given? Samaras picks the ball up, and I think it is a free kick. And I think now finally it does look as though we've got two sets of players here, both down to 10 men, who are thinking, well, maybe now a point will do from this game.
Well, I think the Greeks will think they're very, very fortunate the way they started the first half to even get back in the game. They look dead and buried. No chance, I thought, at half-time they were going to come back into it or even have any decent shots on target. They didn't, and they've probably looked the better side in the second half. Salpagidis has been very, very good. Purposeful, running forward, doing very, very well to get in behind the Polish defence. He's made a massive difference.
Piszczek down the right, crosses, but it's blocked, and that means it'll be cleared away by Greece.
And then, of course, that the Greeks will feel a little bit aggrieved that they missed the penalty.
Blaszczykowski now down the right, pulls it across, and it's shanked over the top of his own crossbar by Katsouranis, who, I feel that might have gone anywhere as he swung a leg at it, Katsouranis. It was hit with some pace by Blaszczykowski, the cross, and he managed to clear his own crossbar.
No, it could have gone absolutely anywhere. It was a brilliant cross in. Again, probably only the second time in this half that's happened, that Poland have got down the right-hand side, drove the ball across the face of the 6-yard box, and as you said, Katsouranis just swung his left boot at it, hit his shin, and fortunately for him, flew over the bar.
If that had gone in, that would have been one of the most fiercely hit own goals you'd ever see. Corner. Obraniak to take it. A corner in added time. 3 minutes of added time we're playing. Obraniak plays it in. Goalkeeper Halkias comes, didn't make it, but it was over the top of him. And he said he's saying he didn't get a touch on it. That is being disputed by Lewandowski, who was closest to it, but it's given as a goal kick.
Yeah, difficult to see whether he touched it or not. Had a bit of a flap at it. But again, Poland in the second half haven't come out with the same purpose. They haven't really played with the same sort of tempo they did in the first half. Like we said, maybe that buzz, that adrenaline from the opening ceremony, the fans, everybody getting behind them, just took a little bit out of them. And of course, a lapse in concentration, two massive lapse in concentration, really, from Szczesny, has almost cost them dear. And we thought it was going to be a draw. We thought it was going to be a bit of a boring 0-0 draw.
Far from it.
We were certainly wrong on that point, but a draw looks a certainty now.
Maybe a little tiny touch of complacency as well from Poland after the way that the first half went and the way that Greece were so poor in the first period. But there was quite a lot of talk in the ground here last night about how the Greek team might be able to lift the country after the financial troubles. But if anything, the first half performance added to the woes of Greece. But they've responded in the second half, and if they do get a point, I think they'll just about be worth it. The story of the game again, the fact that Poland could have been out of sight at half-time, Greece had a man sent off, Papastathopoulos, and then it all changed in the second half with Salpingidis scoring the equaliser, and then Greece having the chance to take the lead in the match, but Karagounis' penalty saved by substitute keeper Titonia after Szczesny had been sent off. That's pretty much it in a nutshell, but there's been plenty more besides. Poland are going to bring on Kamil Grosicki as their second change.
I'm not sure he's going to get a chance to even get on.
Got 20 seconds of added time to play, and in actual fact the referee blows the whistle and brings it to a close. A hugely entertaining opening match of Euro 2012, with the co-hosts Poland drawing 1-1 with the 2004 champions Greece. Danny Mills.
Well, I think Poland started off fantastic opening to the game, looked really good, looked purposeful. The Greeks were just abject, but they came out in the second half. The change that was made, Salpagidis came on and changed the game for Greece. He was full of running, trying to get in behind people, and of course, he was involved in everything. Scored a goal, was brought down for the penalty, and then scored possibly a dubious offside goal as well. So Poland, talk about a proper game of two halves, I think.
Yes, we do. We need to see that replay of the disallowed goal as well, the disallowed Greek goal. But it's finished. Poland 1, Greece 1. And if every game at Euro 2012 is eventful as this one has been, then we're going to have a lot of